Hi friends! So I've been experimenting a little bit with a new Wraith build, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a little bit crazy, it's super fast paced, but basically the gist of it is that you're going to take the add-ons that allow you to break walls and pallets really quick. It also allows you to vault a window really quick, and then every time you break something, so whether that's a generator or a wall or a pallet, you'll become visible again. And then we'll combine this with Bamboozle, which already speeds us up on the vaults, Brutal Strength, which will break the pallets and walls and generators even quicker. Overall, this is really overkill, but that's kind of the point of the build. And then on top of that, we'll combine the Brutal Strength with this generator kicking add-on with Eruption, and that'll allow us to just quickly put a mark on it, and then whenever we down somebody, it'll blow up, and then we'll just cause this chain reaction of people not being able to do too much. The last perk here is Save the Best for Last. I'm a huge fan of this perk. I take it on almost every killer that can use it, pretty much. And this is going to allow us to maintain chase and basically down people a lot quicker, which pairs well with Eruption, which pairs well with us kicking the gens so they all blow up constantly. And you're going to see the window speed, the vaulting speed is really nuts. On top of the breaking speed. Anyways, here's the game. All right, we are in on the suffocation pit, which can kind of go either way for killer or survivors, but typically what you want to do on any map is start moving towards the spot where the most generators are, and then move towards the furthest one on the back. Luckily, we did get pretty lucky here and find Yujin right off the bat, and managed to smack her with not with a pallet. We got smacked with a pallet, but we managed to smack her early, but as she threw the pallet down, which is a pretty good start for us. I did notice that the Rebecca was on a generator here, so give or take, usually want to head in that direction if you see somebody on a gen rather than continue a chase, unless you know you can end the chase extremely quickly. Right here, that is an example of how quickly you can break the pallets. Definitely speedy, for sure. It's one of the strengths of this build. Taking a couple pallet hits is really not that big a deal with this. If you get the pallets down, regardless of if you get hit by them or not, it's definitely going to help you. Here I did manage to get hit by a head-on, which is good on the Rebecca, but decided to move away from her, so we're going to try and find someone else, and we did manage to find the injured Yunjin from earlier, which is fantastic. Land a nice little glide hit onto her here. Alrighty, and with her on the hook, we're going to proceed to go just check the other gens. One of the major strengths of this build is just hitting anything, pretty much. You want to hit generators, you want to hit windows, you want to hit pallets. The quicker the pallets go down, the easier, the later the game is going to be for you. And as you can see, the windows are so quick. This Rebecca's caught a little bit in a dead zone. Oh, not actually, there is a pallet there, but she was in a little bit of a bad spot. And she's going to head towards Killer Shack, which is typically not too bad, but when you have a build like this, getting rid of the pallet in Shack is definitely a good idea, because a lot of people tend to run towards Shack for safety. And if the pallet's gone, they're going to realize how much less safe it really is, especially if you block the window with Bamboozle. Now here, I did try to find the Rebecca. I lost her trail a little bit. It's not too big a deal. It is going to cost me some time, but again, it's really not too big a deal. I wasn't too confident about this chase. I know a generator hasn't popped yet, so I figured it would probably be a better decision to just move away and go grab another generator here, or at least go check another generator for anybody nearby. Now, Wraith naturally has a lot of speed while cloaked, so you want to remain cloaked most of the time, at least. Ada here, not prepared for the ambush. And one thing that you'll notice is we're slowly getting some stacks of Save the Best for Last. I was not prioritizing it at the beginning just because I wanted to get some hits and pressure on people. I didn't really care who I hit, but now we've already got 3 stacks. We're going to grab Ada, hook her, and we're going to move on. Now, another gen does pop. There was one in the distance and one right there. It's not a big deal. Typically near the beginning of the game, if a couple gens pop, even like 1, 2, or even 3, you really don't have to worry too much. Obviously, it depends on your playstyle, depends on the killer that you're playing. It's a good idea to keep an eye out, but just watching the speed of kicking these things, it's very quick. The only downside to this build, and I mean it's going to be the downside on Wraith overall, is the uncloaking speed. But you do get a burst of speed. I did save this wall right here, because she does not expect that we're going to come at her, but that I slipped a little bit. It's alright though. She runs straight into a dead zone. We catch her. So one thing, going off of that last little bit there, you are going to want to actually save some breakable walls unless they are absolutely detrimental to get rid of early, like some of the ones on Dead Dog Saloon. Because since you are breaking things so frequently with this build, and the fact that you have an add-on that makes you become visible immediately after breaking things, you can just so quickly catch people off guard, because you'll just be suddenly visible and you can chase them. You don't even have to uncloak. We get another hit there. And since uncloaking is kind of the weakness of this build, any opportunity you can find to break something and then chain it into chasing somebody is really good. Like this, break it, done, continue the chase, and she is going to find a pallet, but it's just another one for us to break. She's just giving us pallets. Soon enough, there will be dead zones everywhere, and the pressure will build up. Alright, now that Ada's hooked, we are down to 2 gens, which can be a little bit concerning for most people. You never know if the survivors are going to have an extra bit of teamwork that's going to come in handy. Prove thyself, something to get a gen done, so it is good to patrol. That's a given, of course. So I decided to hit this gen and quickly try to get a hit on her, but she was able to get the pallet on me quickly. Luckily, we are getting towards the point of the game where there are not a lot of pallets left. They are going to have to start being careful with what they use. I decided to drop the chase here because save the best for last with the obsession. And then we hit this gen and we can just drop right onto Yunjin real quick. Miss the shot, but it is all good. Assuming we did not miss the shot, that would have been a really good hit because of the fact that we were so quickly out of our cloak and she would have had very little time to react. Now she is running into a bit of a dead zone aside from Shaq. She chooses to go towards the distant pallet, which I did not see, but ends up walking into the middle of the woods, and of course this is going to be her demise. And the 2 generators are going to blow up in the distance from eruption. Now, one of the strengths of this build, another strength, is since we are, running low on gens here, we only have a couple left. The more that we kick with eruption, the better. And then more are going to blow up. People will likely be on the ones we kicked. We're going to kick this and immediately hit Ada, which is an example of how strong it can be. Ada was in a horrible position. Typically, survivors won't be in a position like that, but she happened to be right there. And then, boop, another free down. And at this point, we have a lot of stacks of Save the Best for Last, so we're going to be able to quickly get some people out of the game there. Goodbye, Ada. She played well, but alas, that is the end of her journey. Now, I spy Rebecca here. I wasn't sure if this was the obsession or not, but I still wanted to get a hit in for pressure. And as it turns out, it was not the obsession, so this is absolutely a chase we want to take. I fake looking at her, and then we head on over to the Rebecca that I know won't make me lose stacks, and she jumps in a locker, and this is, again, another great piece of progress towards winning the game. Rebecca's jumping into lockers aside. This build is still shining strong, even without the mistakes they've been making. They are still at 2 gens. The pressure has really started to show. They don't really have too many places to run. As you can see, this Rebecca is making a lot of distance, but there's really nowhere to go. And zoning her away from Shaq is ideal. This is our obsession, so we are going to lose a couple stacks for hitting her, but at this point in the game, just getting the extra pressure from hits is going to help us a lot, rather than trying to preserve the stacks. With another Rebecca on hook, that is her first one, because we haven't really been prioritizing the obsession, which is completely fine. We are going to kick this gen real quick, just to ensue the chase. Kick this pallet. Don't be afraid to kick pallets without being cloaked. It's not a bad thing because you still have brutal strength. And everything else is going to help you with the jumps through like windows or pallets, all that good stuff. So she does manage to make through a window, but just like the last Rebecca, heading in this direction, there's really not much over here. It's kind of all broken earlier, and even then there is just kind of a lot of trees and not a lot of actual useful things over here. I did see the Yunjin behind me over there try to break a hook, and she actually does creep up behind over here to go break this hook. But it is not going to be enough to save Rebecca, and she's going to be next on the chopping block. At this point, there is really nothing for her to go off of aside from maybe a window, if she can find one. Speaking of windows, try to get ahead of her here, block this window, and her options are completely gone. There's pretty much nothing she can do. Everything on the map has been exhausted. So she is going to go down. There's probably like 1 or 2 pallets left, and all the windows are not really that viable with Bamboozle and the speed that I can vault through them. So that is Yunjin down, and we've just got Rebecca left, although I really don't typically mind if the last survivor gets hatch. I will usually just go kick some generators or go find some pallets I have left over, and that is about it, honestly. And Rebecca here does manage to find the hatch, which is awesome for her. That was a great game, and this build has a lot of potential. It's a lot of fun. It's honestly sometimes too fast-paced for me, but hey, if you give it a shot, let me know what you think about it, and that's about it. Thanks for watching.